Hi, I'm Aaron, and today we're going to be working on my native maple forest. I believe these are silver maples. I've done one pruning on them since, and now I'll be pruning them again, and I'll probably be repotting these in the spring as well. So when I go for my repotting this spring, I'll reorganize the trees and maybe even take a couple of them out. But for now, I can work on just getting them shorter, getting them more compact. The first thing I'll do is probably just shorten the height of all these trees and bring in some of these whippy branches. So first I'll start with this one. It has no branching on it. And it looks like I pruned it here. And then this was last year's growth. Now I'm trying to think about how high I want these trees to be. I'm thinking I want them relatively short so I can fit multiple trees in this pot. Right now I have 2, 4, 6. I have 9 trees in here. So yeah, I think I'm going to shorten them quite a bit. I'll start with my concave pruners. And this seems to have some good healthy buds down here. So I'll start by pruning this one right here. Moving on to this next one over here. This one's got more of a this one has a thinner trunk, so I'll probably prune it a little bit shorter than this one. I do have some buds right here, maybe some buds right here and here. So I think I'm going to prune it back down to these buds. And if these don't take, then I can just develop the tree from these ones down here. Always pruning halfway in between the buds, so there's room for dieback. Now moving on to this tree in the middle here, got several branches developing. I'll probably choose one of those to become a new leader. I think I'll just bring it down to where it divides right here. Leaving a little bit of room for dieback. And then I think I'm going to come through and prune up some of these branches. Now typically you don't want branches opposite of each other. So I'm going to have to make a choice on which ones I want to keep. I think for this one's just too thick. So I'll get rid of that one. I'll clean this up a little better so that it heals over nicely. And this branch has a lot of buds on it, very short internodes. I have buds here and buds here. So I'll take it off right there. And then I'll prune the tip off of this one. And remove this one. And I'll also shorten this one, just removing the tip. Eventually I probably will choose between this back one or this front one. I also have one way down here at the base. I don't want branches that low on my tree. So moving on to this tree over here. This tree's got a lot of growth, very vertical growth. Not much taper to it. I think for getting more taper, I'm going to take it all the way back down to this first branch. Yeah. I don't want the trees to be too big. And I want some movement and taper to these trees. So I think I'm going to do a big cut and take it all the way back. And even with that big cut, this tree is still too tall, so I think I will shorten it. I have some buds here and here, so I think I'll shorten it down to here. Alright, now moving on to this tree over here. I have a branch towards the base. I don't want that. So once again, I want to get movement and taper to my trunks. So I think I'm going to do another hard prune on this tree. I don't really need this branch, so I'll just go ahead and remove it now. And then I'm going to shorten this tree down to this back branch, which will become my new leader. So moving on to this back tree. I'm thinking this branch right here could be a good leader for the tree. I'll go ahead and take that back. Now in a forest, it is good to have different heights of your trees. It makes it look a little more realistic, makes it look more natural. Once again, on this tree, I have a branch at the base that I don't need, so I'll remove that. So this tree definitely needs to be shortened. I have a good strong bud here and here. I think I'm going to take it back down to this one right here. That'll help with giving me some variety in tree height. Now this tree right here is pretty thin compared to the others. Yeah, I'm just going to take this one down. And then this one has a lot of buds on it. I will remove this lower one right here. And I have one at the very base that I can remove. This one has good buds right around here. So I'll prune this back. So this is what the forest is looking like now that it's pruned. Like I said, I will be repotting this in the spring, so I don't necessarily have a front. I don't want branches this low on my trunk, so I'll remove this as well. So I don't really have a front, and they're not in their final placements. They're just still in the spots I planted the seeds. So yeah, these trees are 3 years old. This spring, I think they'll be 4 years old. Starting to thicken up, and eventually we'll start looking like trees, but for now we're just in the early phases of development. I think I will add more moss to the, adding moss helps the trees stay hydrated when it's hot and sunny outside, and it also helps protect the roots from frost. So I'll go get some moss and moss up the landscape, and we'll be done. All right, so went into the greenhouse and grabbed my moss. And I'll just start placing it on the surface, starting with my bigger pieces. There's no real method to this. You just kind of push it on. Make sure you push strongly though. If it doesn't attach to the soil, it'll dry up and die. Now I don't think I'll have enough moss to cover the complete surface, but the moss grows pretty good in the greenhouse, and it should spread and take over the surface before I take the trees out of the greenhouse for the spring. Come here. Nope. That's all the moss I have. Like I said, with it being in the greenhouse, it should eventually cover the whole surface. making sure it's all making good contact with the soil underneath so it doesn't dry out and turn brown. Still not sure what I want this forest to look like, but still have a little bit of time before I figure that out. And there you have it, my native maple forest. Here's everything I took off today. I might try planting some of these as cuttings. But so that is all I'm going to be doing to my native maple forest. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for in the springtime when I do a repotting.